Chapter 7, Unearthing Our Internalized Oppression. The spirit of my ancestors did not manifest themselves in my soul bones to watch me become a convenient place for someone else's feet. Nikita Gill. Oh yeah, history from the Mormon side of things. That's the whole other part. That's the indigenous part that I owe much recompense for. I grew up in a city with a beautiful shoreline. There's a long seawall that wraps all the way around the central core, connecting neighborhoods and hosting outdoor activities like running, rowing, cycling. I don't run often, though this story makes it sound like I do, which I ain't mad at, but I did jog said seawall from time to time. Fighting global systems of white supremacy tends to cause me some stress, like a lot. And one particular morning, I arose and decided that getting my run on was that day's cure. As I laced up my sneakers, I was deliberating. That's the gardening. Ding, 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 ding. Thank you. Deliberating over where I wanted to run. Should I head to the seawall like I usually do or switch it up? I decided to spice up my life and run around the neighborhood I lived in at the time. I jogged down my street, turned left, and ran up the next. As I did, I noticed the predominantly white folks passing me by as they made their way to work. As I had the majority of my life, I lived in predominantly white neighborhood. A nice one, full of heritage homes and green space. Seeing nothing but white fences pass me by as was a regular occurrence. But on this morning, I noticed something else. Something awful. I realized that as I ran, I was doing so in a way to appease white comfort. Though I wanted to roam freely up and down the same streets to peep at the beautiful homes and gardens in my hood, I wouldn't dare. I knew all too well that the white folks in my surroundings would be alarmed by a black woman running aimlessly on their block. I could see it on the white and other non-black faces who passed me by, and I could envision the folks in their cushy homes getting concerned. Instead of running where and how I wished, I ensured I appeared as though I was running with purpose to some final destination. I ran each street paying careful mind not to seem as though I was lost and directionless or scoping the scene to steal. I was out on a run to relieve my stress and support my physical and emotional well-being. Yet I was being assaulted by the woes of white supremacy, telling me that I was suspect and telling me I was a suspect and I didn't belong in my own backyard. As my behaviors came to light, I felt disgust. I stopped my run and reflected on the truth that I had been doing this my entire life, over 30 years at that point. I began to wonder how many other ways white supremacy had reared its ugly head inside of mine. How often had I moved through the world in a way that prioritized white folks and the comfort of whiteness to the detriment of my own? Probably a lot. This is how internalized race-based oppression works, causing myself and other folks of color to internalize negative ideologies about ourselves and about other BIPOC individuals, especially Black and Indigenous women, and prioritize the comfort and well-being of whiteness. But make no mistake, we don't make this shit up. Internalized oppression is rooted in the very real, lived, and felt experiences. A few weeks prior to my jogging awakening, I had been on a run on the seawall. I told you that it sounds like I run a lot. Hi, Leah. Like I said, I live in a super white community, so being near Black people was always a cause for celebration. On this run, I ran by my Nigerian friend Udokam, as well as a tall Black man a few blocks later. I made a post about it when I got home because never in my Vancouver life, hey Kate, had I seen two other black people running when I was. And it was a good day. After I posted, Udakam informed me that the black man I saw was a friend of hers. And shortly after I passed him, he was stopped by a white person concerned that he was lost. The racist assumption is, of course, that a black person couldn't possibly live in a nice neighborhood or go for a fucking run like thousands of other non-black folks in the area. The result is a constant conditioning in black folks to internalize that oppression within and among ourselves. This story has taken on a whole new meaning in light of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery, who was shot by a white man for doing precisely as Udakam and her friend had done, running while black. As described by the University of Kansas's Community Toolbox, internalized oppression is when people are targeted, discriminated against, or oppressed over a period of time, such that they internalize, meaning believe and make part of their self-image an internal view of themselves, the myths and the misinformation that society communicates to them about their group. This is not to be confused with internalized racism, as only white folks can partake in, let alone internalize, the global system of race-based dominance. And internalized racism is just racism, period. BIPOC internalize white supremacy. Black folks internalize anti-blackness. Women internalize patriarchy. LGBTQIA+ internalize homophobia and transphobia. And those living at the intersections of oppression internalize them all. Anyone belonging to a marginalized group or groups is prone to internalize the oppression taught and consumed by the dominant culture. As South African anti-apartheid activist Steve Biko once said, the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Holy fuck, that's a good song. That's really good. Let me read that again. Steve Biko once said, the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. That's fucking poignant. I mean, is that not what we see right now? Right now. That literally the power that is given to the current administration is given by the people they are oppressing the most. Maybe not the most, but actively out there. And they thank him for it. And they're thanking him for it. God damn. One more time. The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Yep. That's why it's so goddamn hard to do this. All right. Hey, Chris. It's sick. It's a sickness. It is. Manifestation of internalized oppression. Internalized oppression, also known as self-oppression or internalized inferiority, manifests in two primary ways through either the individual or the group membership. With respect to race or ethnicity, on an individual level, we oppress ourselves by internalizing the myths and the misinformation spread by white supremacy about our race, gender identity, sexual preference, or ethnicity. Yeah. This results in hiding our truth, withholding our authentic and fulsome identities, and or playing into stereotypes, leading to self-fulfilling prophecies. For example, when I was 12 years old, I had a crush on a class cutie. Paul was blonde-haired and blue-eyed and with an Australian ancestry. One day I saw a photo of Paul and me that a friend had taken, and I quickly concluded our fate. We could never be together. He was the epitome of a white male ideals. Why would he ever like a black girl like me? And that was that. I put a lid on liking Paul or any other guys in my predominantly white class and deemed my blackness undesirable. Paul wound up marrying a South Asian woman whom I adore, and my inner child was nearly moved to tears. Oh my God. Yep, that happened to me. In high school, I had a friend named Jack who I adored. I fucking loved that guy. He was so cute and so funny and so thoughtful, and I thought that I was the fattest thing in the world and that there was no way that he could possibly like me. And so I literally had convinced myself that I friend zoned myself. We wrote letters back and forth while he was on his mission and I was in college. We emailed each other. And then I wrote him this one letter. I was feeling very particularly like in touch with my feelings. And so I just wrote him a really how grateful I was for his friendship. Never heard back from him after that. Like I thought I was like, oh fuck, messed it up. Then one day he knocked on my door and he was there. He had come home from his mission. He didn't even tell me. And so it like was so surprising to see him, brought him in. We sat down and talked and it was the most awkward thing ever. And I literally thought, this is weird. And I'm glad he's my friend and that I don't have a crush on him anymore, because I thought there's no way I could continue to like pull conversation out of somebody. And plus he didn't like me anyways because I was fat. So why would he like me? Even though I wasn't. I just, we talked about this the other night. Anyways, years later, he met somebody. He called me to tell me about her. And I remember I talked to her on the phone and I said, hey, just what did I say? I said, take care of my Jack. And she said, he's my Jack. And I said, he'll always be my Jack. But whatever. And then I went to their wedding and she looked fucking exactly like me. And I went, are you fucking kidding me? I literally probably had this guy. I could have been and married him and have been in love forever and ever. But I thought that I was too fat and I literally self-sabotaged. Anyways. So that's what she was talking about. Let me read it again because I did see you ask for that. Internalized oppression, also known as self-oppression or internalized inferiority, manifests itself in two primary ways, either through the individual or group membership. With respect to race or ethnicity, on an individual level, we oppress ourselves by internalizing the myths and misinformation spread by white supremacy about our race, gender identity, sexual preference, or ethnicity, or body size. That's what I did. Okay. Yep. The results in hiding our truth, withholding our authentic, fulsome identities, and or playing into stereotypes, leading to self-fulfilling prophecies. For example, when I was 12 years old, I had a crush on the class cutie whose name was Paul. He was blonde-haired, blue-eyed, with an Australian ancestry. One day I saw a photo of Paul and me that a friend had taken, and I quickly concluded that our fate, that we could never be together, for he was the epitome of the white male ideals, and where was it? Fuck, I looked up and now I can't find myself. Ideals. Why would he ever like a black girl like me? And that was that. I put a lid on liking Paul or any of the other guys in my predominantly white class and deemed my blackness decidedly undesirable. Paul wound up marrying a South Asian woman whom I adore, so a brown girl, and my inner child was nearly moved to tears. Yeah. Race or ethnic-based internalized oppression shows up through group membership when BIPOC individuals buy into white supremacist myths and misinformation about other members of our own racial or ethnic group, and oppress or discriminate against one another instead of fighting those in power, white folks. This results in fighting, isolation, discrimination, criticism, and etc. within ethnicities and communities of color. Anti-Blackness within the Black community is an example of internalized oppression on the group level, and this plays out, for example, when Black men refuse to date Black women, or Black folks advocate for people in power who actively discriminate and oppose Black people. Hello, Kanye. Womp womp. Internalized oppression in the individual and group membership contexts lead to furtherance of white supremacy amidst the and between BIPOC individuals, and shows up in all sorts of ways, such as a Nigerian woman bleaching her skin to be lighter, also known as whiter. A Mexican child refusing to speak Spanish in public to assimilate with the dominant white language, English. White passing BIPOC individuals denying their non-white ancestry to reap the benefits of whiteness. Indigenous person with straight A's only applying to community college because they don't believe they're smart enough to succeed elsewhere. Or a Rwandan genocide murdering each other based on groupings created for and by and for the benefit of white colonists. I often find it's internalized oppression that fucks me up the most. It has me out in these streets stifling my own damn self, and the pits other Black folks against me, it's me and me against them. White supremacy has done a damn good job ensuring that we hate ourselves and each other, arguably more than white supremacy itself. You'd be hard-pressed to find a BIPOC individual who has escaped this vice, not even our greatest heroines. My mother once told me about the time that she had the honor of designing the stage for Maya Angelou at a speaking event. When she went back to the dressing room that she had designed to meet Miss Angelou, whom I adore, our poetic prophet, was having none of it. "She can't come in," Miss Angelou said, pointing at my white passing mom, after finishing all the hard alcohol my mom had been required to leave in the room. "She's milk." My fellow Black folks will know that Miss Angelou was referring to the fact that Black folks come in all shades, from milk white to blue black. And my mother was light-skinned, multiracial Black woman, and my Miss Angelou, of much darker complexion, actively discriminated against her because of it, leaving my mom utterly crushed. I don't share this shit with anybody. I don't share this to shit on anyone. Both my mom and Maya are legends, gone too soon in my eyes. And if you read I Know Why the Caged Bird Sing, you know Maya endured some seriously painful stuff. My point is that internalized oppression can get to the best of all of us, and it's a damn shame. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect, and everybody gets hurt by white supremacy. Everybody. The impacts of internalized oppression. Irrespective of how it manifests or disseminates, race or ethnicity-based internalized oppression has serious adverse impacts on the oppressed. These include feeling inherently less worthy, good, capable, deserving, beautiful, accepted, etc. because of your race or ethnicity. Believing that there is something wrong with being BIPOC. Believing that you are not BIPOC or less of a BIPOC because you are a white passing. Having lowered expectations and limiting your self-potential. Experiencing limited choices to either act in alliance, experience limited choices to either act in alignment with white supremacy or disrupt the status quo and the internal conflict that arises. Feeling hopeless or overwhelmed by the lack of available possibilities. As Dr. Tarikali shares, it is also frequently leads to survival strategies that may include appeasing and catering to the oppressor, staying silent or attempting invisibility, withdrawing from and avoidance of the oppressor, isolation, disassociating and numbing, hypervigilant scanning, and thank you, scanning and interpreting everything in the social environment as a threat. These impacts are real, lasting, and take a toll on the well-being of the oppressed. As a queer Black woman, I have been dealing with adrenal burnout caused by caretaking, hypervigilant scanning, and people-pleasing for close to a decade. The consequences are more multifaceted and magnified for those at additional intersections of oppression. A queer, trans, dark-skinned, disabled, fat, indigenous woman will have to unpack further layers of interconnected, internalized oppressions, for example. For multiracial folks with white origins or white-passing BIPOC individuals, the mindfuck continues, as you are likely both benefit from white privilege in some form while also battling internalized oppression caused by white supremacy. The TikTok chop is amazing. For this reason, many white passing BIPOC are forced to work double duty to address their shadow side, which often entails the oppression of others while also being oppressed because of race or color. How do we heal? Oh, yes, please. How do we heal? It's hard. That's how. White supremacy starts from within. Of course it does. And for the oppressed, it festers there, creating a potent cocktail of self-hate and in-group conflict. How do we overcome it? First and foremost, by dismantling white supremacy. It is impossible for BIPOC to eradicate our internalized oppression as long as its cause, white supremacy, exists. I forgot where I was. Though it is on white folks to dismantle the oppression they created, we must all fight for racial justice out in the world and make room for BIPOC, especially queer and trans, Black and indigenous women. To prioritize our own comfort above that of white supremacy in our hearts and our homes, facing our shadows, showering ourselves with compassion, and supporting ourselves with soul care are all vital to the resistance. And it is coming together in sufficiently safe spaces, free from the white gaze, to commune over our shared struggles. Acknowledging the ways in which we can cause harm to ourselves and others serves to loosen the shackles of oppression. As Audre Lorde once said, "What are the tyrannies you swallow day by day and attempt to make your own until you will sicken and die of them, still in silence?" Ooh, that was beautiful. What are the tyrannies you swallow day by day and attempt to make your own until you will sicken and die of them, still in silence? Naming internalized oppression when you notice it at play in yourself and others can help to minimize its power. Get clear about your intention to address and overcome your internalized systems of dominance. This intention can reduce your time spent in tension. Whoa, hang on. Yeah. This intention, okay, hang on. Go back further. Naming your internalized oppression when you notice it at play in yourself and others can help minimize its power. Get clear about your intention to address and overcome your internalized systems of dominance. This intention can reduce your time spent in tension. And BIPOC deserve all the freedom we can get. The hate ages people so quickly and makes them ugly from the it does. It really does. I truly believe that it is something that eats you from the inside. Okay, spiritual soul care and offering call to action. Reflect and journal on the following. How has internalized oppression shown up in my daily life? Could be regarding race, ethnicity, gender identity, social or sexual orientation, so on. How have I contributed to internalized oppression in others, particularly queer and trans Black women and Indigenous women? This can unearth a lot of conflicting feelings. So you may wish to ground yourself before and after. If it's available to you, head outside, put your bare feet, hands, or back on the earth, grass, soil, or sand. Getting into nature and connecting to Earth's electrical energy, known as earthing, can alleviate stress and promote well-being, hence the term getting grounded. If nature is inaccessible, all good. If possible, lie on the floor at your home and envision roots extending from your spine down into the earth below. Okay, journal prompts one more time. How has internalized oppression shown up in my daily life regarding race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, and so on? I think you can also throw in there ableism and body image. Those ones are huge. Hey, Zach. And how have I contributed to internalized oppression in others, particularly queer, trans, Black, and Indigenous women? Okay, here's our call to action. Call to action. In moments when you feel internalized oppression may be at play, ask yourself, whose comfort am I prioritizing right now? And why? What is it costing me and or others, especially queer, trans, Black, and Indigenous women? Commit to calling it out in yourself and or others whenever it is sufficiently safe to do so. That was perfect timing. Alexa, pause. Stop. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Thank you. You couldn't have asked for a better timing. That was perfect. That was a good chapter. I especially like the part at the end where we have, how do we heal? Yay. Some actions. And definitely, I think a huge part of that is realizing when we fall in on ourselves, when we give into the tropes and the stereotypes that we have been conditioned as women, as white women, when we fawn, when we find ourselves wanting to coddle men, wanted to tell them, accept the bare minimum. I think that's huge, because men are grown-ass men. They're grown. They can do hard things. We only hurt ourselves. Yeah, we really do. We really only set ourselves back because it's one of those things that we know that we can do better, but we kind of just, it's that sigh that you give and you're just like, I could just do it myself. It's like that feeling. If anybody has any thoughts and wants to pop up and talk, we can. Yeah, come on up. Yeah, it doesn't matter what women will do. Someone will say it's wrong. Always, always. It's one of those things we can never quite get anything right. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I can't send you an invite. I think you've got to ask.
Am I on now?
Yeah.
That was weird.
Oh, thoughts?
That was so good. And like what was really interesting is the fact that earlier today we were talking about the power dynamic. And we were saying that the power, like that's what I talk about whenever it comes to boundaries and like real.
Oh, message or something, call coming in.
Oh, sorry about that. I apologize.
Okay.
Can you hand me my cord? Thank you. The fact
Power.
yeah, it's power. I need more power.
I do go power.
Oh my god. But what I was gonna say is a lot of it is the fact that it is rules that have been instilled on other people that are rules that those people have to abide by, but then it's that I but then it's that ideology of, oh, it's rules for thee but none for me. That's that idea of well, I don't have the rules because I'm the one who made the rules, so you just have to follow them. And that's the mindset that is so toxic, because then that's not negotiated out, that's not agreed upon, that's just set forth.
Right. Oop. I was just going to pull this up for our good friend Johnny Fever. Oh, I pushed the wrong button.
Nice.
Come on up, Johnny. Let's talk about it. I'm sorry you're afraid of blue hair. It's just
He's probably
hair.
12. He's probably 12. Little Johnny.
Yeah.
Scary blue hair. Scary.
Who's Johnny? She said. Come on up. I can't ask you. You have to. See? You know why it's 1,000%? You know why, Johnny? Because this is who white supremacy is meant to uphold.
Johnny, your white supremacy is your white supremacy is showing, Johnny.
Because it's normal. You know why you think that's normal?
Because you're falling into it,
because
Johnny.
the system is meant to uphold people who are rich, middle-aged, Christian, able-bodied, heterosexual, cisgendered, U.S.-born citizens, or white and men.
Okay, hold on,
you're
Johnny.
telling
Johnny,
me
you're
that
saying
this is normal for you. You're telling me that you are perfectly comfortable with white supremacy.
My favorite thing is Johnny's like, you're spewing hate, but the one who says, "Oh, look at your blue hair," Johnny, look inwards, man.
You're making up lies. There's no hate. I've not seen a
trying to defend himself.
Hateful.
Is 4chan closed today?
I think so.
Johnny,
I think it got shut down, didn't it? Well, who's hating? I don't have any hate. You're the one who's mad at my hair.
Yeah, you're really mad at the hair.
No, actually, that's not what I do at all, Johnny.
I've learned that it doesn't matter what we do. Somebody is not going to like it, so just do it the hell it makes you happy.
Oh, who is we?
Within the bounds of not hurting other people.
Are you?
I'm not mad. We're laughing.
Are you with?
Okay,
are you
cool.
with them? You
hate
said
people
we.
that aren't you.
I'm not mad. We are laughing. That's you, baby. It's hurting America. What's hurting America?
Yes, white supremacy is hurting America.
White supremacy
Very good.
is hurting America.
Catching on, sir.
Confused
laughing
people.
now?
What makes me confused? Again, what's making me confused in your mind? Come up, Johnny. It's a lot easier to talk.
Tell us how confused
Johnny?
we are, please.
Johnny, you scared? That fear, you gotta
supremacy, I can
about where
assure
that's
you it's
coming
not
from.
fake. What's very much alive.
So here, Johnny, white supremacy is not fake. In the state of Missouri, we passed in our Constitution that we should have abortion.
No.
But now we can't have abortion. They're trying to take it away. We voted for that. It's not.
That's all right, Johnny. It's okay. Just go ahead.
Obviously, somebody can't read, but they can type real good because they're using their voice chat.
Actually, my life's been pretty damn good since I left my piece of shit husband.
Oh, he said a word
Johnny.
that TikTok doesn't like.
I think you are a child. That's all right. I'm going to go ahead and say
13.
thanks for playing.
Auf Wiedersehen,
been fun.
Arschloch.
I think that you are sad.
Oh my
And
God.
I think that you are lonely.
So lonely.
And
That male loneliness epidemic. Man, oh man, it's hitting you hard. I bet
I hate
Kleenex
to
has a
say
good
it,
account.
but I think that you are never going to get laid.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Have you read that the Mary Trump book?
No, I saw
enough?
that 92%'s been reading it.
Yeah, we
I've not
finished
read
it today.
myself. Oh, awesome. I'm probably going to give myself a violation. That was a lot of puff. Sorry. I want to mute.
You okay?
Okay, so maybe you guys can help off subject for just a second.
Go for
I'm
it.
going to be awesome here in about 30 seconds because that opened those lung bronchioles up, baby.
Oh.
Seconds because that opened those lung bronchioles up, baby.
Oh. Okay, so
yeah.
I don't you're just going to have to come out and tell me because I don't read between the lines very well.
Okay.
How does the gifting thing work? On here, the gifting and the what is good etiquette?
I don't care. I'm not in it for the money, but if you gift people, it like I think like 10 roses equals a penny or something like that. It's I don't know. It's crazy. But I don't do this for money, so it's okay.
I'm just curious, are people expecting me to be, in the lives tipping and stuff, and I just look rude as hell?
No, because right now it's pay what you can, and if somebody is trying to do that, then that's just guilt extortion. That's exactly what that is. But what I usually do is if I can donate, I do. But anything that comes through on the live that goes to me, I donate it right back.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And I prefer to keep mine for educators. So when if I'm sitting on a black educator and they're talking and they're spending a lot of labor trying to explain stuff to people, gift that shit because
Medusa has so many roses from me. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's what I did. I had some, and I kind of figured that was the etiquette for. Yeah. But yeah, her and Controversial Blonde, I gave what I had to. So yep. Okay. Yeah. I'm understanding.
That's usually what I do. Yeah,
perfect.
It's a way of showing appreciation, and people say tapping is clapping. So if you do the hearting, is you're clapping for people.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you up to 10K because I value.
Give me the 10K.
Thank you for reading that.
Give me them hearts.
And thank you for rereading a couple of those things, because that line in regards to the oppressor controlling the minds of the oppressed, keeps them in power, that slaps so hard, because it's so true. Because in my community, that's exactly what they do, is they don't allow any kind of negotiation, and they just put the rules on the person, which violates all their boundaries as a person and doesn't allow them to have any kind of growth, any kind of input in their dynamic that they are playing a part in. And it's just okay, cool. So you don't want this person to contribute because you're not looking at them like a person. You're looking at them like an object. Awesome. Right. That's great, because now I know that you're trash, right?
You're gross.
Exactly. And that's how they look at us now, like the Trumpsters, the people who are wearing the Trump's hats and walking around and being all, oh yeah, he's not looking out for you. You are a statistic. You are a cog in the wheel of work and they don't want to give you any rights, and they want to strip them away so that if you die, well, or if you unalive, then they can just replace you.
Right.
That's where that fear is where that whole do not obey in advance comes from, because it's easy to get fear, because they're purposely triggering that fear mechanism.
Well, and the thing is that those supporters, they don't sit in it. They don't sit in it and ask, why am I feeling this way?
No,
They automatically listen to what the higher ups are saying, and they're like, oh, well, that must be why I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the hell?
Obviously.
Yep. You can't buy groceries to all the brown people.
Well, like my father, when my mom finally got him to go to the doctor for like just well visits, because my dad never went to the doctor unless he was sick, like super sick. So my mom finally got him to go do like a colonoscopy and all the stuff, and he said, I wasn't sick until I went to the doctor.
Oh,
and so it's like that for them. It's like, I didn't know that you tell me that who to be mad at, and I'll be mad at them. I didn't know that it was the migrant undocumented workers until you told me that's who it was. I didn't know that it was trans athletes until somebody told me that that's who I should be mad at. And it's like, they're not right. They don't realize that they're doing it to themselves,
and they don't, and that's the thing, is they have looked up to this authoritative figure forever because they were told by their parents or their parents' to trust them. They're in your best interest. They're looking out for you, and that's why they don't want to do the research, because why would something that you trust hurt you? Right. Why would they do that? My parents told me, and they love me, and blah 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 blah, and it's just like, well, that's looking a gift horse in the mouth. You're not doing your due diligence for yourself. You're just following along. And they talk about us being the sheep. Honey, we ain't no sheep. We the goats trying to ram your butts out of that shit.
Well, I mean, it all it took was Donald Trump saying 3 times that he didn't know anything about Project 2025. And that was it. Nothing else you could show would make it a difference. None of it would make a difference.
And then after he got voted in, it's real.
Still can't. I've given so many people the tracker. There's trackers online that you can keep up with exactly what they've accomplished. Nope, never look. No. But do you follow knitting? Do you follow Knitting Coat Lady?
Yeah. Yes, she's amazing.
She gave me a lot of I don't know terminology for what I'm seeing, right? The cult mentality, and you guys talking about what it's like to, grow up with religion, and it all just makes more sense to me now.
Yep. Yeah, it's 100% a power play dynamic.
If they admit it now, then their whole life structure shatters, and they don't just have to accept that it's Trump. They have to accept that it's been every Republican in their red states that have been shoving it for years with no lube, and that is a lot.
Well, and the other thing is that it's a lot of them admitting that, I screwed up. I did wrong. And the thing is that there's that mentality, right? There's that mentality that is instilled in us as children going into school, that if you are wrong, if you get an answer wrong, that's bad. Like, right. It's not, you're trying to process it through and learn it. Yes, you're going to have those pitfalls and failures. You're going to have them. That's how you learn. But there's this perfectionism that is instilled in us so early that if we veer off and admit that we are wrong, then who are we? We're not perfect. And they strive for that perfection. And it's just so toxic. And it just seems so tiring. Oh oh my gosh, how exhausted must they feel on a daily basis and not even realize it, that they're using so much computing power?
That's one thing I was.
We all fall into it really easily when I think about how quickly
because I would love to have your input.
So hurt about like how the feedback about the protests on April 5th and how much that hurt people's feelings. Well, that's perfectionism. That's that whole thing coming through that we can't do it right. You told us to do this, so we did it, and now we still can't do. Well, that's perfectionism. We fall into it super fast.
And then some people are like, screw it, I give up.
Right? I'm never gonna do it again.
What were you going to say?
Same thing. Like
I didn't get my cookie.
What you said? Hold on.
When White Woman Whisperer did the man versus bear versus man versus woman discussion, and how quickly the white women were like so adamant that it was not true. And that's where it comes down to, again, if we are not the good guys, we can't possibly look to see how we are not that living up to what we think we should be doing or what we thought we were doing. We can't even fathom the idea. But every single time, I'll tell you what, anytime I come across a feminist talking to a man, I literally look at it and I'm like, fuck, you're right. There it is. We do that to black women every time. We do the same thing to black women every single time. So you can double your work by just thinking, this annoys me about my husband or about this man in the office. Fuck, I do that to black women because it will happen. I will happen like 10 times out of 10. Whatever
So wait
the
a
white
minute.
man is doing, we do it.
Yeah, no, but okay, the bear thing is because I've seen a couple of those lives, and I'm like, yeah, of course we pick the bear every time.
Yeah,
But you've seen one
when that
white
whole thing
women
was going down. Yeah, no. So when that whole thing was going down, right? Like when it was super popular and super viral, White Women Whisperer, Rebecca, said, okay, so everybody's talking about man versus bear. And she says, but I can't help but wonder what white women would think if I asked black women if you had to choose between a man and a woman and a white woman, a white man or a white woman at work. Who would you choose? If you were in a conference room by yourself and somebody had to walk in and you had a choice between a white man or a white woman, who would you choose? And the black women overwhelmingly chose the white man. And all the women lost their shit.
Really?
Because here we were, everybody was choosing the bear together. But then when we flip it and we make it, and then all of a sudden we're the danger. And like, like white women, she got demonetized over it because white women came in force. But
Jesus Christ.
The thing
if
is,
you literally sit and think about it, like what's one of the most annoying things we think about men, and especially in the office, right?
Well,
like, taking credit for women's work, right? A woman will give an idea, nobody will listen. A man will say it, and everybody will think it's the best idea ever, right? That's a common thing we hear. Hang on.
I'm sorry.
Hang on. So
I'm letting you cook.
That's what we think about for men and women, right? Now, what Rebecca was saying was if the situation is between a white woman and a black woman, the white woman will always act like the white man every time.
Right.
So in a situation where a black woman is in a black woman and a white woman are in a corporate setting, an idea is floated, the black woman has an idea, nobody will listen. But the white woman says it, and all of a sudden it's the best idea in the world. Because we are the white men of women.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But like
I'm just surprised that white women lost their shit so bad. I didn't.
Oh,
I guess
They
because I
lost
just
their shit.
it's just a. I'm trying to understand. It's just it's foreign to me.
Well,
Yeah. Well, they didn't like the idea that they were seen as that women are seen as the dangerous ones, because literally they're like, but men are going to rape you. And then she's like, guys,
Right?
you, you know, I'm a woman too. I am aware that this is a thing. I know. No, but I'm just still going to say that you're more dangerous to black women. Just say it. And they're like, no, don't say that to me.
but
It was
also
crazy.
also at the same time, like if you view it from the perspective of that, right? You have men who are unchecked, so they're gonna be loud, they're gonna be boisterous. Whereas women, white women, are kept in check all the time. That a lot of our thought processes are surface level. We don't share them a lot. So then we are the shark under the water. We are not the tail fin above the water, and that's how we are looked at. We are looked at as, oh, we can do some stuff maliciously because we keep a lot of our stuff internalized, whereas white men don't. They're the shark fin above the water. You see the danger coming. But with the women, sometimes it's all underwater and you can't see it. That's the best analogy I got.
I've had really like a couple of really good female friends in my life, and honest to God, I've had just some horrendous people I thought were friends just blow my mind. Like, because I would never, like, I would never hit on a male partner of a friend, right? Like, I would never, and I just didn't make a whole lot of friends after a couple of those. I was like, no thanks. I'm good. I'll just keep my couple of really good friends.
Well,
seriously.
I think that, again, what's most interesting is that you can literally like double up on your deconstruction space, though, because if you listen to women talk to men and the way that men react and that whole thing, I'm like, that is like how we can learn more about how to be better allies, better people, better humans.
It'll definitely
especially when it comes to black women.
It'll help you catch your bias for sure. Those little hidden things.
It's also how you advocate for yourself, because you also want to advocate, like if you have that advocate for self, you want to advocate for others as well, because you want to uphold the standards as well. Because like I was at work and one of my coworkers who is no longer there tried to get me fired because his masculinity was tested, because I kept calling him out on shit. I kept saying like, hey, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And he didn't like that. And so he attempted to do that. And I had told my boss, I was like, no, I value this company. Here's all the stuff that I've done. Here's what I look forward to every day. Here's what I do. And my boss was like, you know what, you're right. And then my other coworker who was attempting to do it, he had another job lined up that next week and left. And I'm like, yep, that's about right.
Yeah, oh yeah. Crazy. When I was in the fire department, the guys who came before me behaved very differently than the guys that came after me, because it's a seniority structure, right? So the guys that came after me were just fucking... The guys that came before me, of course, there was always the men that just didn't believe women belong in the fire department, and I was the first woman ever hired, so it was a new idea. So of course, some of the old timers never came around, but a lot of the guys did, and I did fine and got along with everybody. But the younger guys that were coming in were just they didn't know what to do. You could just tell, like they were either afraid or they were pissed that they had to listen to me. There wasn't any in between.
I got a question for you, too.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes to like the older versus the newer ones that are coming in, do you notice that the older ones were more outspoken than the newer ones. Like
the guys from my generation were like my peers were more outspoken than the younger guys.
Okay, because we have the same thing in our spicy community. We call them the old guard versus the new guard, and the old guard was extremely just. It was bad, and like I've been one of the ones who have been advocating for more diversity and more inclusion in our space, and we're finally getting it more and more every day because I won't stand for it and I'll call out that shit.
It's kind of hard in the fire department because there's no like separate test for women and men. You either do the job or you don't. So
Sure.
There's not a lot of women who can physically do the job. It's really fucking hard, and I had to work really hard every day to stay strong enough to do it.
And that's the thing is like, like these men downplay women of, oh, well, you're just so fragile and you're this, and it's like, hey, I'm at your level. I've worked twice as hard because I don't have the same anatomy as you. So either respect or get the freaking off that treadmill because you've been running in place forever, my guy.
No, I mean, I just did a lot of quiet smiling. Like they just, just a lot of like little smirks when they set up a competition for our new ladder truck was really 52 feet long, and so you have to go through a series of maneuvers with it before you're passed to drive. And I beat all the men in the fire department, and my captain, who's my favorite, happened to have daughters, and he let them have it. It was such a good day. I didn't have to say anything. He just laughed at them all because he could tell they were burned, right?
Yeah.
It was. But
I'm
that
sure
was fun.
Their little fragile manhoods were very sore.
And I love that. I love whenever that happens because it's like, oh, I thought you were so strong, but this one thing is hurting you. Maybe you need to self-reflect because your strength is obviously fake. It's a facade, and it's.
I'm just thankful. Like I just never cared enough what they thought. I loved my job, and I was good at it. And Jesus Christ, who's lucky enough to do something they love and be good at it? What?
True.
Look at you being a badass. Hell yeah. If I could high five you, I would.
And
so please take my air fist bump.
Yeah, right
like
back.
We had talked about earlier, I think that there is that normalizing that needs to happen. Like you were in there breaking those barriers down so that somebody else can come along and move the goalposts, move it even farther, and be the loud woman, be the person out there, because you might not have been in a position where that was even a safe possibility at that time.
And I did try and keep that in mind moving through that. There's nobody to talk to about it, right? There's no advice anywhere. It's definitely play as you go. But
you were building it as you went.
But I did after a few years. I just became myself, and
good.
I said shit they probably didn't like, but I heard and saw shit I didn't particularly care for either. So.
Right. I think that's amazing. I think that's really awesome because it's not something that we can make changes overnight. We can't undo hundreds and thousands of years of systematic oppression.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to go in there. I'm not going to go in and change all the thinking, right? There's just no way.
Right.
So why worry myself sick about changing those views? Because if doing my job isn't enough to change them, then nothing will.
Right.
So, yeah, you're right. And I have tried.
Time has shown. Like I said, you're not the only one. You have literally blazed the trail for any other women who came after you and broke through barriers so that they wouldn't have to.
That's because
And
you're
I
a
think that's
badass, fam.
But there's women. There's whole shifts of women now. Like I think
Yeah.
Chicago has a whole female shift, and there's a couple other big cities. I think.
California's got one too.
Yeah. So no, yeah. There's lots more than when I started.
Well,
I started in 1998.
So you know how you had said that you Valkyrie, that you had liked a boy and you were worried that you would never like fit that nostalgia, right? Like you weren't going to fit his ideology because of what society tells you, right? So
Right. I thought I was too chubby.
So I got like I've been in my spicy community for quite a while, and I finally really got out there. I can't say the word though.
It's just
But like I got out there and I finally met my person, and like he's a cutie. Do you want to see him?
I am not
Yes, you are. This is my person.
one of them.
Hang on, let me make you bigger.
I don't know if I can see your head.
Hello.
Hello.
Look at that lovely face.
I call
Gorgeous.
him. He looks like Pedro Pascal, so I call him Padre Pastel.
He loves it
Every
too, I
time.
can tell.
Yes, so much. I told him he can have every Halloween costume as long as Pedro Pascal's still in work. But he's so supportive, and like he is one of the best people. And I think why he is one of the best people is the fact that he had to help take care of his mom whenever she was sick. So he was very nurturing early on.
The age of 15.
So it's nice. It's nice to meet a guy who is not like the status quo.
What, the
Yeah,
fact that
lucky
I feel like
you.
we're all equal, not separate.
Here, talk.
Babe, you're good.
Well, say that.
The fact that the way I see it is we're all equal. No one's separate. Like there is no black, there is no white. We are all equal and all the same.
Oh, we're not all the same.
No,
There's
but I mean
different-
that's how we should be. It shouldn't be. I hate how. I'm trying.
I know what you're saying.
It's just like the way I grew up.
We
Like
should
you know.
be celebrating each other's differences
Yes,
instead
yeah.
of
Yeah, it's just like the way I
persecuting each
look at it. It's like, you know, you got racism that goes on. I hate racism. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. It shouldn't be around. Because the way I grew up when I was younger, growing up in an apartment complex, the family below us, it was a black family, a black woman with her two daughters. Well, the crazy thing was, I was 2 years old. I went downstairs into their apartment. The mom woke up, saw me downstairs watching TV. I'm just like, hey, how's it going? And then our families ended up becoming real great friends. Like, their daughters called my dad. I'd call them my sisters.
Aw.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't see all that racism. Like, it's stupid. I hate it.
you see it, but you don't want you call it out for what it is.
Yeah, it's crap. I hate it.
It is. It's junk. It's based off of junk science. It's literally based off of junk.
That's what we're trying to work through is how can we make it so that we don't have to inadvertently keep up the system, the white supremacy system that keeps racism and all the other isms alive and breathing, because that white supremacy is at the base of it all.
Yeah, like one of my favorite books that I read in college was The Heart of Darkness. I don't know if you've ever read that book.
I have not.
But what it is it's essentially asking what is civilized? What qualifies as civilized? Because it takes place in the book takes place in like Africa, I can't remember what time period, but it's definitely not like 19th century, right? But like it asks what is civil, because you have this idea of, oh well, we're well dressed, we have wealth, therefore we're civil, and it's like, no, there are whole societies that have systems in place that they are civil, but they're civil on their own level, and you're not acknowledging that because you want to seem superior. Because you're civil, but nobody else is. Got it. Okay.
I think for me, what opened my eyes to that idea was how the colonists, when they landed, they thought the indigenous people were savage because they didn't have the same advanced weapons of war, and so therefore we could easily take them out. We could easily subjugate these people, and literally, it's not that they didn't have those same types of weapons of war. It's that they never needed them
100%.
because they had learned how to commune together and meet together and problem solve as people who all have to cohabitate this space together. But the white people saw that as being savage or backwards, and in reality they were more advanced because they didn't need those things that were deemed as important.
Did any of you ever learn about that, about the American Indians in school, and wonder why we didn't do things that way? Because they seemed like they were the ones that knew what they were doing, and we did not.
Oh no, I didn't get to do that because I was because living in Utah, it was essential that I understand that my people, my Mormon ancestors, came and made this place better. So no, absolutely not. There was no nothing in my American history classes were like, see how peaceful these people were, see how they lived in harmony with the earth and how good that is. Nope. We were not allowed to think that way.
I feel like a lot of that stems from, aside from, Joseph Smith, and I feel like Joseph Smith just wanted to get his rocks off and get wealthy. But like the next guy after him, what was his name? He was the big bad.
Fucking Brigham, he's the worst.
Yes, he's the one who was like, oh yeah, we're totally gonna be peaceful with the tribes next door, and then that onslaught, and it was in denial for so long, and they hid it for so long, and I can't remember who wrote the book on that, but she like two people wrote books on it that were part of the Mormon faith. One left and one stayed. I've been listening to Somewhere Underneath. Great podcast if you get a chance. They're very big advocates, and they talk about a lot of things going on within the United States. And the big series that they're doing this season is talking and breaking down the Mormonism faith, and going different sects that exist within the Mormon faith, and then talking about like the systemic abuse that exists within the Mormon faith, aside from what's on top of white supremacy, because it definitely is a hamburger of gross.
Oh yeah. Completely.
Yeah, Natalie, yeah.
All I think of is, every single time I look at MAGA and I look at what they are proponing for, and I'm like, you guys realize what you're asking for is Utah. Do you like Utah? Do you want to live in Utah? Because what you're talking about is Utah. You want to have that authoritarian Christian nationalist state is what you're looking for, where everybody believes the same and everybody has to follow the rules, and the rules are made up by God. That's Utah.
Well,
we don't
not made
say
up by
it out
God, made up by
loud.
man.
We don't like, oh no, but like I said, Utah believes that it is very much made up by God.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So the idea, like the reason our liquor laws are so weird has nothing to do with the state and everything to do with the church.
Yep.
The reason why we have such hard time getting, it took us like 3 or 4 tries to get medical cannabis access. And that's because of the church. And the reason that we have all these anti-trans bills that are being pushed through is because of the influence of the church. There's everything. The church has got their fingers in the pie of every politician, and in Utah, and it has been that way forever.
Yeah.
And so, people who say that this is what they want, next time, just ask them, "Have you ever been to Utah? Have you ever tried to get a drink in Utah?" Because I can guarantee you, if you've been to Utah, you didn't like it. You didn't think it was very fun. You think it's very nice and very clean, and the people are very nice and very clean, but you wouldn't want to live there.
Well, it's very Stepford. It's very Stepford. It's quaint and nice on the outside, but like, man, oh man, you get down to those roots and they are rotten to the core. Just rotten to the core. And it's really sad. I've got to head off. We're going to watch a movie together. Thank you so much for letting me listen to you read. And Femme on Fire, you're freaking amazing. I love learning about you guys.
Thanks.
Yep. Have a good night.
Stay safe.
Good night. Stay safe. Love you. This is half a heart because I don't have my other hand.
I'll see the other half.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes. Thanks, babe.
I haven't
take care.
Camera works yet. I suppose I should do that one of these days.
Well, I don't know if you because I couldn't ask you to come up, so it might be that you haven't got live access yet, which means you can't do camera yet. I don't know. I don't understand it. It keeps changing too when people get to have access to the live stuff. So,
okay,
I can't make sense of it. So, don't worry about it. It's all good. I believe you. I trust. I'll just picture you here in my brain.
You'll see a pair of old focals, like right in the camera.
Yeah, some so you can see better. I had to go get my vision tested, and I am not going back to my progressive lenses. I was like, I don't like them. I can't do them. So, I hope I'm just finishing, Cease. I'm just finishing up. Actually, I'm about to turn it off. But it was good. It was a good night.
Can you see me now?
Hey, there you are. You can turn on your camera. Hey, that's a face.
I'm TikToking. I'm TikToking now.
You're ticking and the talking.
Look at that.
I love it. Got to be able to. Can I see or not see? Do I need to read the comments or no?
Yes. Oh, and my eyesight, other than reading, is great, but I can't see shit anymore without them.
I know. Cece, I'm gonna download it and put it on my YouTube channel because I've just been putting them there, just the whole live, so you can find it there. But yeah,
I'll have to play with all
my
these
new bra
things.
though. Hubba.
You got a new bra? Oh my god! I watched. Flipping through here, there was a bunch of women doing step aerobics.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this woman who had I don't have huge boobs, but and they weren't bouncing at all. I'm like in the comments, 5,000 comments, trying to find out. Somebody had to ask. Somebody had to ask where
really
her
good
bra is.
That's some heavy duty bra action. Good job. Yeah, because I got my new bra on, so it looks really good. The boobs are looking fantastic.
Yay!
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? There's nothing like a good bra.
It is tight. It is tighter though. I'm like, yep, I do feel it, but it's okay. So it is bra o'clock. That's what that means. It is time to take off and relax and hit Pinky a little bit more and enjoy my evening. Yep.
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
the plan.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Yep. Talk to you later. And Cease, if you want to get on Discord, we can. But I'm gonna definitely turn off my camera. Good night.